In this video, we will discuss the 15 common feeding mistakes stealing your dog's lifespan. Some of these we do every day without even realizing it.
It's pretty shocking when you put it like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the data backs it up. There's this big veterinary nutrition report. It found 83% of us, dog owners, are unintentionally cutting years off our dogs' lives.
83%. Wow.
Yeah. And it's not intentional malice, obviously. It's these small, everyday habits, things about feeding, that just add up over time. The symptoms often don't show for years.
So it's about making simple changes that can have a really big impact long term.
Exactly. Tiny tweaks, potentially huge rewards in extra years.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The first few mistakes you mentioned are all about timing, the when of feeding, and mistake one is something super common, feeding only once a day.
Right. Convenience often wins out here, but it's rough on their system. See, dogs produce stomach acid pretty much constantly.
Okay.
So if there's no food for, say, 18 hours between meals, that acid just builds up and up. It's literally, well, sources described it like acid burning the stomach lining.
Ouch. Like battery acid on metal was one description I saw. And there's a physical risk too, isn't there? Something about bloat.
A huge risk. That UCLA study you mentioned, it tracked thousands of dogs. The ones fed just once a day had 73% higher rates of gastric torsion.
That's GDV, right? The stomach twist.
That's the one. GDV, bloat. It's devastating and often fatal.
So are there warning signs of this acid buildup before it gets to something like GDV?
Sometimes, yes. If you see your dog obsessively licking the floor or maybe eating tons of grass, that can often be a sign of chronic acid reflux. That long gap between meals makes it worse.
Okay, so the fix seems obvious, but maybe not easy for everyone's schedule.
It's simple nutritionally, maybe not logistically for everyone, but it's worth figuring out. Just split the total daily amount into 2 meals, morning and evening.
And that actually adds years.
It does. That Harvard study, it was long term. Dogs fed twice a day lived, on average, 2.1 years longer. Just from that one change. Consistency pays off.
2 years is significant. Okay, sticking with timing. Let's flip to the other extreme. Mistake 8. Leaving food out all day. The free feeding buffet.
Ah, yes, the grazer model. Which is fine for cows, but not so much for dogs.
Why not? Seems easy.
Their ancestors weren't grazers, they were hunters. They'd have a big meal, then fast. Their bodies are built for that cycle. When food's always available, their insulin levels basically stay high all the time.
Constantly telling the body to store fat.
Exactly. It's like the body's always in storage mode, never in breakdown or repair mode. And the health consequences are pretty stark.
Like what?
Well, that Copenhagen study found free-fed dogs had 3 times the rate of diabetes and 40% more cases of pancreatitis.
Wow. Okay, that's serious metabolic impact. Is there anything else?
There's also a food safety issue, especially with kibble sitting out. Bacteria love that. E. coli, salmonella, they can double pretty fast in stagnant food.
So, what's the solution if free feeding is out?
Scheduled meals. Just like the fix for once-a-day feeding, but maybe even stricter. Put the food down for, say, 15 minutes.
And if they don't eat it,
Take it away until the next scheduled mealtime. It sounds harsh, but it teaches them healthy hunger cues. It gets their body back into that natural eat-then-fast rhythm.
okay, meal timing established. Twice a day. Scheduled times. Now, what about activity around meals? Mistake number 4. Exercise immediately after eating. The soda can analogy.
Yes, that's a really vivid one. Shaking a full soda can. It's kind of what happens inside their stomach if they run hard right after a big meal. It causes GDV, that gastric dilatation volvulus, or bloat.
The stomach literally flips over.
It can, yeah. It fills with food and gas, and then sudden hard movement can twist it shut. It cuts off blood supply.
And this is an emergency, right? Like a 5-alarm fire emergency.
Absolutely. Time is critical. Purdue research showed, even with emergency surgery, 30% of bloat cases are fatal. Large breeds, deep chests, they're most at risk, but honestly, it can happen to any dog.
What are the signs to watch for? We need to know this.
Urgent signs. Pacing, restlessness, trying to vomit, but nothing comes up that's called non-productive retching. Sometimes excessive drooling. If you see this, you need to get to an emergency vet immediately. You likely have less than 2 hours.
So prevention is everything here.
100%. The rule is simple. Walk first, feed second. Or, if you must exercise after they eat, wait. At least 30 minutes for just light activity, like a short leash walk. For anything strenuous, like running or fetching, wait longer. An hour or even 2 is safer.
Got it. Walk first, feed second. Or wait. Okay, last timing mistake, number 13. Feeding right before bed.
Yeah, this one's a bit sneaky. We think they'll sleep better with a full tummy, but it often backfires.
How so?
Well, think about eating a big meal and then lying down flat immediately. Gravity isn't helping keep things down. For dogs, lying still right after eating often leads to acid reflux.
It's a leap burn again.
Exactly. It might not be obvious, but that acid creeping up can cause long-term damage to the esophagus over time.
Are there subtle signs for this one too?
There can be. Things like excessive lip licking, maybe repeated swallowing, or even waking up restless in the middle of the night, like pacing around 3 a.m.
Okay.
And there's a deeper issue. Sleep is when the body is supposed to be doing repair work, immune system maintenance, all that crucial stuff. If it's busy digesting a big meal all night, it's diverting resources away from that vital restoration.
So when should the last meal be?
Ideally, 3 to 4 hours before bedtime.
Yeah.
Give them enough time to fully digest before they settle down for the night.
Okay, that covers the when. Really important stuff. Now let's shift to what's in the bowl. Mistake number 5. Ignoring the ingredient list. You called this the dirty secret zone.
Uh-huh. It can be pretty eye-opening and maybe a bit gross when you really look. First rule, check the first few ingredients. If the very first one isn't a named meat like chicken or beef or lamb, not just meat, it's likely lower quality.
What about things like meat byproducts? Sounds kind of vague.
It is vague, and that's the point. Legally, meat byproduct can include things not typically considered meat for human consumption. We're talking beaks, feathers, hooves, even sometimes tumor tissue that's been rejected from the human food chain.
Seriously, that's allowed.
It is, and it gets worse. Some investigations, sources pointed this out, suggest that maybe up to 40% of commercial pet foods use rendered animal products, which can include euthanized animals. The FDA allows it.
That's deeply unsettling, especially when you think how much we adore our pets.
It really is. So you have to become a label detective. Look for those red flags. Corn, wheat, soy in the top 5 ingredients. Usually cheap fillers, not ideal nutrition.
Any preservatives to watch out for?
Definitely. BHA and BHT, they're chemical preservatives. They're actually banned for human food in many parts of Europe because it links to cancer. But they're still allowed in pet food here.
So avoiding those things, does it actually translate to a longer life?
The evidence suggests yes. The UC Davis study. Dogs on high-quality protein diets live 19% longer. 19%. And they had 50% fewer vet visits.
Wow. So quality ingredients are literally an investment in more time and fewer vet bills.
Absolutely. Pays off in the long run.
Okay. Related to ingredients is mistake 6. Feeding the same exact food from puppyhood all the way to their senior years.
Right. We get brand loyalty, or maybe we just don't think about changing it. But sources called this nutritional insanity almost. A puppy's needs are drastically different from an adult's, and different again from a senior's.
How different are we talking?
Well, puppies need much higher protein, around 30%, for growth. And they need a really specific calcium to phosphorus ratio for healthy bone development. If you feed them adult food too soon, it can actually mess up their bone growth, potentially leading to things like hip dysplasia.
And then when they get older, their needs change again.
Completely flip. Around age 7, give or take, depending on breed, they hit senior status. Their metabolism typically slows down, maybe by 20%.
So if you keep feeding the same amount of the same food,
They pack on the pounds, easily. They might be taking in 400 extra calories a day without you realizing it just because their needs have dropped. Obesity is a huge health risk for seniors.
is there data on switching foods for different life stages?
Yeah, Ohio State did a tracking study. Dogs that were switched to age-appropriate diets at each life stage, puppy, adult, senior, had a median lifespan increase of 1.7 years.
Another simple change with a big lifespan boost. Okay, this leads nicely into mistake 7, never even considering fresh food. Kibble is just so dominant.
It is, largely because of convenience. But that convenience comes at a nutritional cost. The high temperatures used to make kibble, often around 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Destroys nutrients.
This destroys a lot of them, yeah. Maybe up to 60% of the natural vitamins and enzymes. Plus, that high heat processing creates compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGGs.
Those are bad.
They're linked to inflammation and faster aging in humans and animals. But on the flip side, adding fresh foods can be incredibly protective.
Like that Purdue study on veggies.
Exactly. That was a 10-year study. Dogs that ate some fresh vegetables just 3 times a week had a 90% lower risk of developing bladder cancer. 90%.
That's astounding, but you can't just start throwing leftovers in their bowl, right?
You mentioned scrap skill. Absolutely crucial point. Fresh food for dogs needs to be balanced. Random scraps are unbalanced and can be dangerous. A properly formulated fresh diet is typically around 40% lean protein, 50% vegetables, and maybe some complex carbs, 10% healthy fats, plus necessary vitamins and minerals.
So it requires some effort and knowledge.
It does. You can use resources like online calculators. Balance is one well-known system, or work with a veterinary nutritionist. But the payoff can be significant. The University of Helsinki found dogs eating balanced fresh food diets lived about 2.5 years longer on average.
Okay, so balanced, fresh, good, random scraps bad. Which brings us to mistake 9. Giving table scraps without knowing the danger list.
So this is so important. The ASPCA poison control gets something like 180,000 calls a year just for pets ingesting toxins. A lot of that is human food.
What are the absolute worst offenders? The immediate dangers.
Grapes and raisins, they cause acute kidney failure, sometimes from just a few. Xylitol, that artificial sweetener in gum, peanut butter, baked goods, causes rapid insulin release and potential liver failure within 30 minutes. And chocolate, especially dark chocolate, is toxic to the heart and nervous system.
Those are the well-known ones. What about the less obvious, maybe silent dangers?
Garlic and onions are a big one. They're in so many things we cook: broths, sauces, powders. They contain compounds that damage red blood cells. It's not immediate, but it causes anemia over time, which can be fatal days later.
And cooked bones, we hear about those a lot.
Never ever give cooked bones. They become brittle and splinter easily. Those splinters can perforate the intestines. Cornell's Vet Hospital apparently sees about 3 cases like this every week. It's a preventable tragedy.
So the rule is really strict here.
It has to be. If you didn't prepare it specifically for your dog, keeping their needs and these dangers in mind, just don't feed it. It's not worth the risk.
Okay, let's talk about allergies. Mistake 11. Ignoring food allergies and sensitivities, thinking it's just itchy skin.
Yes, this is super common. The dog is constantly scratching, maybe licking their paws raw, getting chronic ear infections month after month.
And we blame pollen or fleas or just sensitive skin.
Right. But that big study from North Carolina State University found that 62% of chronic skin issues in dogs are actually rooted in food allergies.
62%. What are the usual culprits?
The most common triggers are actually proteins. Chicken, beef, dairy are big ones. Wheat can also be an issue.
Why is it so hard for owners to make the connection between the food and the itchiness?
It's the delay. The allergic reaction, the skin symptoms, they often don't show up for 6 to 8 weeks after the dog starts eating the offending food.
Ah, so by then you've completely forgotten you switched brands or gave him that new treat.
Exactly. It makes it really tricky to pinpoint the cause. The best way to diagnose it, the gold standard, is an elimination diet.
How does that work?
You switch the dog to a food with a novel protein, something they've likely never eaten before, like duck or venison or rabbit, and a single novel carbohydrate, like sweet potato, and nothing else for 8 to 12 weeks. If the symptoms clear up, you've likely found your answer.
Okay, switching gears now from what they eat to how much. Mistake number 3, eyeballing portions. Just scooping it in.
Oh, this is probably the single biggest contributor to the pet obesity epidemic. The Association for Pet Obesity Prevention, APOP, says 59% of dogs in the U.S. are clinically overweight or obese.
Nearly 60%. And often we don't even see it, do we?
No, our perception of a normal dog weight is skewed. We think chubby is cute or healthy, but every extra pound matters hugely. On a 50-pound dog, just 1 extra pound is like 10 extra pounds on a human frame.
And the impact on lifespan is significant.
Devastatingly significant. Cornell did a 15-year study. Dogs that were consistently overfed lived 2.8 years less than dogs fed precise, measured portions needed to maintain a lean body condition.
Almost 3 years lost just from overfeeding.
Yes. So the takeaway is crystal clear. Precision equals lifespan. Get a proper measuring cup, like a cheap $6 one, and use it accurately for every single meal. Don't guess.
Okay, use the cup, but that leads to mistake 14. Not adjusting that measured amount for the dog's actual activity level. The bag isn't the final word.
Absolutely not. The feeding guidelines on the bag, they're just a starting point, an average. They can't possibly account for your specific dog's metabolism and lifestyle.
So feeding a lazy couch potato dog the same amount as a dog who runs 5 miles a day
Is, as one source put it, nutritional malpractice. You'll either underfeed the athlete or make the couch potato obese.
How much adjustment are we talking?
Generally, sedentary dogs might need 20-30% fewer calories than the bag suggests. Highly active dogs, working dogs, might need 20-40% more.
How do you know if you've got it right?
You monitor their body condition.
Yeah.
You should be able to easily feel their ribs under a thin layer of fat, but not see them sticking out prominently. They should have a visible waistline when viewed from above. Adjust portions by about 10% up or down based on that.
Okay, this next one surprised me. It connects feeding to mental health. Mistake 2. Always using a food bowl.
Yeah, it sounds weird at first, doesn't it? But think about a dog's natural behavior. In the wild, they'd spend hours, maybe 6 to 8 hours a day, hunting, foraging, working for their food.
And we just put it in a bowl. It takes them 30 seconds to eat.
Exactly. And that lack of mental stimulation, that lack of work, can actually have a negative impact. Yale researchers did brain scans. Dogs fed only from bowls showed patterns somewhat similar to humans experiencing clinical depression.
Seriously, depression.
And their stress hormone levels, cortisol, were measured at 40% higher compared to dogs who had to work for their meals. They need that outlet for their natural instincts.
So ditch the bowl sometimes?
Or make the bowl harder to use. Scatter their kibble in the grass, hide it in a snuffle mat, or even just a rolled up towel. Use puzzle feeders or slow feed bowls. Make mealtime a bit of a game, a challenge.
And this helps behaviorally too.
Massively. Studies show dogs who have to hunt for their meals exhibit about 65% less destructive behavior, like chewing furniture, and they tend to sleep about 30% better. They're more fulfilled.
Wow. Okay, back to a physical danger. Mistake 15. Not monitoring eating speed. Those dogs that inhale their food like a vacuum cleaner.
Yes, the speed eaters. This is a major risk factor, especially for bloat. When they eat that fast, they gulp down huge amounts of air along with the food.
Which contributes to the stomach filling with gas.
Precisely. That air fills the stomach, increasing the risk of torsion, the dreaded GDV. A UPenn study found dogs finishing their meal in under 2 minutes had 5 times the risk of bloat compared to slower eaters.
5 times, just from eating too fast? Okay, so slowing them down is critical.
Absolutely critical. Slow feed bowls with the built-in obstacles are great. Scattering the food works too. Even just putting a large non-swallowable ball or toy in the middle of their regular bowl forces them to eat around it, slowing them down. Turning a 30-second meal into a 5-minute meal can be life-saving.
Okay, just 2 quick ones left. Mistake 10. Switching food too quickly.
Ah, yes, the sudden switch. We run out of the old food, grab a new bag. Big mistake for their gut.
Causes tummy upset.
Often severe GI distress. One study from the University of Illinois found 78% of dogs experienced issues like vomiting or diarrhea with abrupt food changes. Their gut bacteria, the microbiome, needs time to adapt to the new ingredients.
So how do you transition properly?
Slowly. Over 7 to 10 days is ideal. Start by mixing maybe 25% new food with 75% old food for a couple of days, then go 50-50 for a few days, then 75% new, 25% old, and finally 100% new food. Gradual is key.
Got it. And the final mistake, number 12. Not providing fresh water constantly, or rather, not keeping the bowl fresh.
Right. We fill the water bowl, but how often do we actually wash it? That stagnant water becomes a breeding ground for nasty bacteria.
Like what?
E. coli, salmonella, even fecal coliform. Yeah, poop bacteria were found in 45% of dog water bowls tested by Hartpura University. You're essentially letting your dog drink from a petri dish if you don't wash it.
Huh. That's disgusting and dangerous.
Potentially, yes. Plus, there's the issue of dehydration. If the water isn't fresh and appealing, or if the bowl is dirty, they might not drink enough. Chronic, low-level dehydration is a major contributor to kidney disease.
Which is a huge killer of older dogs, right?
Number 2 killer, according to the AKC. And dogs need a good amount of water, roughly 1 ounce per pound of body weight per day. More if they're active or it's hot.
So the fix is simple but vital.
Super simple. Wash the water bowl daily with soap and water, not just a quick rinse. And refill it with fresh, clean water at least twice a day, maybe more. Make water appealing and safe.
Okay. We've gone through 15 common, often unintentional mistakes that can seriously impact our dog's health and lifespan. That's a lot of information.
It is, but the good news is now you know better, you can do better. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight.
Right. Focus on the biggest impact changes first. If you could just pick a few key things for people to start with today, what would they be?
That leads perfectly into the actionable takeaways.
Exactly. So let's summarize the absolute must-dos. Here are the top 5 actionable tips you can implement today. 1. Split the meals and remove the buffet. Stop feeding just once a day and definitely stop free feeding. Switch to 2 scheduled meals, maybe morning and evening. Put the food down for 15 minutes, then pick up whatever isn't eaten. This helps prevent that acid buildup and keeps their metabolism healthier. 2. Use the cup, not the eye. Seriously, get a measuring cup and use it for every meal. Be precise. Then adjust that precise amount based on your dog's activity level and body condition, maybe 10% less if they're sedentary, 10% more if they're very active. Keep them lean. 3. Strictly ban table toxins. Make a house rule. No human food scraps unless you specifically prepared it knowing it's safe for dogs. Absolutely no grapes, anything with xylitol, onions, garlic, or cooked bones. It prevents poisoning and internal injuries. 4. Make them work for it. Ditch the plain bowl for at least one meal a day. Use a puzzle feeder, a flow feed bowl, or just scatter their kibble in the yard or on a mat. It slows down eating, reduces bloat risk, and gives them much needed mental stimulation. 5. Separate food and force. This is critical for bloat prevention. Always make sure strenuous exercise, running, jumping, hard play, happens at least 30 minutes before they eat, or wait at least 30 minutes, preferably longer, after they eat before any hard activity.
These 5 changes alone address some of the biggest risks we talked about. They might seem like small adjustments in your daily routine, but they represent a profound commitment to your dog's well-being.
It really comes down to being intentional, doesn't it?
It does. Our dogs depend on us completely for everything, especially their health. Focusing on these feeding habits, being precise and aware, that's how you invest in the ultimate return. More healthy, happy years together. And now you have the knowledge and the tools to do just that.